So Rick, here we have, it looks like a horse stable. A lot of people are calling it like the horse head shop or something like that. What do you think about this? Because at first glance, it seems like it's just supposed to be an area that you go to maybe rent or purchase horses. We know you can find horses out in the wild, but maybe if you're in an area where there's no horses around, you can go to one of these shops and that's how you get a horse. I'm not really sure, but what are your thoughts on this?
I think you're right with that assumption. It's definitely going to have some type of,
Yeah.
system to where you can go and get a horse and take it with you. But I see it being more like a hub spot, just to like they'll be spaced out in several different regions throughout Breath of the Wild, and you'll be able to go there and get more than just a horse, the items and all that type of stuff. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory there. And obviously we see what looks to be Beedle. I mean,
Yeah,
that's backpack and everything.
That's another big thing.
Yeah, it's basically Beedle. And you can see he's walking up to this outpost or whatever. So it looks like he's going to be making rounds to each one of these, or, you can find him throughout Hyrule and everything like that. But I don't think that it's going to be much more than that. As we can see, there's a flower on top, so you're going to be there. Maybe that flower only grows on top of these outposts or something. I don't know, but.
Oh yeah, I see it. It's at the nose of the horse head, I guess. Yeah, but going back to Beedle, I've seen a few people do similar videos analyzing some of these images, but what some people forget to point out is that because there were a few people I've seen in comments arguing against that maybe this isn't Beedle, but if you look at his shorts, it has the same blue shorts with the same white pattern that resembles a Beedle, and then he appears to be shirtless, which Beedle is also shirtless. The sandals that he's wearing are also similar to what we see in Wind Waker. And then the only thing that's really different is the bag that he has, but even the bag itself looks like a Beedle. So everything about this points to it being Beedle. And it doesn't look like you mentioned just a second ago, that he's walking towards this outpost. So to me, that makes it seem like Beedle isn't going to be in just one spot, similar to how he was in Wind Waker. You'd find him in different areas all over the sea. And in Skyward Sword, he would fly around in different areas of Skyloft. And then at night, he had his own little island that he would go to. Do you think this Beedle, you'll just be able to find a Beedle at each one of these outposts that sell different things, or do you think this is going to be the same Beedle wandering around? It reminds me of during the Life in Ruins gameplay trailer, you see the guy that's walking across the bridge. A lot of people think that after seeing that, or at least I do, that there will be these random people that you'll see just walking around Hyrule, similar to the Running Man from Ocarina of Time. You just seen him wandering around Hyrule Field. Do you think Beedle's going to have that same characteristic to where he's just wandering around Hyrule? Or do you think he's just going to be locked to these locations?
I see him wandering around Hyrule. And also, coming to these locations specifically, maybe at certain times of the day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Almost like similar to how Fallout would do their traveling merchants. You'll find them throughout the wasteland, and you can also find them at main hubs or cities that you would normally go to. I think it's going to work kind of the same way. And there's no doubt in my mind that this is Beedle. He could have people working under him that he's just like, okay, this is a uniform, you got to wear it. I could see them maybe doing that for Breath of the Wild, but this is definitely Beedle that they're showing off.
I know in a couple of my videos, I joked around when we first seen the flying island in the sky. A lot of people thought it was City in the Sky or a part of Skyloft or what remained of Skyloft, but there was the joke in some of the videos to where like maybe this is just Beedle upgrading from Skyward Sword. Instead of having his airship, he has an entire floating island. But what I find interesting is, to me, it looks like you can go to the guy that's sitting on the bench that we see, and he'll be the person that you talk to about renting horses or getting. Maybe there's certain items that you can buy to feed the horses to make them run faster, similar to the carrots in Ocarina of Time, except they just replenished automatically. But on the
speaking of those items, though, do you see those right next to the horses, just to the right of them a little bit, up on top?
Yeah,
of
the
this,
orange,
like, little box.
The orange circle things.
Yeah. I mean, those could be apples.
Yeah.
I can't see it because it's pretty rezzed out when you zoom in right there, but those could be large apples. I don't know.
Yeah.
But go on with what you were saying.
I mean, those could be, but what I was getting at is maybe instead of just only renting or purchasing a horse from this person, maybe he also has certain supplies that'll make the horse run longer, run faster. Instead of having your carrots or whatever automatically replenish, maybe you can buy a certain amount, and then as you feed them, the horse will go faster for a period of time, but then once you run out, you have to buy more. Or maybe like if you find apples out in the wild, you could also use them. You could maybe have to decide on whether to save them for yourself to use to replenish your hearts, or if you're in a hurry to get somewhere, you could give it to your horse. But another thing that I was thinking about is this tent. Maybe all of the horse cell stuff goes on the outside, and on the inside it's more like a traditional bazaar. The one in Skyward Sword looked like a huge tent, and so does this one. So
yeah, it does look similar.
Yeah,
definitely does.
It's not as colorful as the one in Skyward Sword, but maybe like to be seen from far away, they have the huge horse head, but to let you know that it's there. But once you actually go inside, perhaps there's like a potion place that you can buy, or a weapon merchant or something like that. And with Beedle there, maybe you have to wait until Beedle gets inside the shop before you can buy stuff, because if you look at it, it looks like the door or the tent, whatever, is closed on it. So maybe Beedle's the one that runs the inside of the shop, and then there's times to where he's in the shop, and then there's certain times to where he's out exploring. That I think that would kind of add a little bit of like a sense that the game's alive.
Yeah, definitely.
Where, like, you know, in what was it, Ocarina of Time, Dampe or Damp, however you pronounce his name, he was only doing his mini game at certain hours during the night. You had to go there at like a very specific time in order to play the game. So
yeah, and similar to a lot of the shops in Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, and a lot of the other ones, if it's nighttime, you're not going to be able to get into a shop. They're closed.
Yeah. So it also, if you look at the left side of the tent, you can see the lantern, and then obviously the fire that the guy has over or underneath the cooking pot. Do you think those are meant to be like whenever it's nighttime and you're trying to look for an area that has other people in it, the light is there to help you see it from a further distance? Or do you think it's just there for looks?
That's a hard one to say. I mean, because we don't know how few and far between these outposts are. You know, we didn't see any on the Great Plateau, so possibly maybe the lanterns are there for that, and then, you know, the pot could have been something that either this dude set up and the fire just doesn't run out, because I know looking through a lot of the footage from E3, the hunting and gathering portion of it, the fire under a pot does go out after a certain period of time. So, you know, this one could be continuously burning to allow you to see this place from a far distance. Same with the lanterns and all that type of stuff. But I wouldn't really be able to say until I get into the game and start playing to see how few and far between these places are.
Yeah. Before we started recording, we mentioned that inside the window on the left side of the tent, you can see inside of it, and it looks like there's books on a shelf. You can't really see much, but it looks like just a normal shelf with books on the bottom of the shelf. I think that's a bit interesting to point out, because I don't necessarily think you'll be buying books, but it does show that there is storage spaces inside the tent for other items, like shields or swords, weapons, food, stuff like that to purchase. And then finally, is there anything else that you can see that you would want to point out? And does this look like the same outpost from the Life in the Ruins trailer to you?
Nothing specifically that I want to point out with just the image looking like this. Over to the left of Beedle, there's what looks to be either NPCs or maybe some enemies, but I can't. It's so fuzzy that you can't really see it. It looks like two figures. And then
it looks like it would either be someone's head right above the orangish reddish pack on Beedle's beetle sack, and then to the left of it, it looks like there's another figure there, whether it's like I would say like a 6 or 7 foot tall rock statue or something sticking out of the ground, or an NPC. You really can't tell.
Other than that, there's not really much else to point out here. I myself don't think this is the same one from the Life in the Ruins trailer, only because in that one, over to the left of the picture of that outpost, there's more trees. Like here, we see one tree behind the outpost, and in that one, there's actually a tree right next to it, and then there's another like stack of either wood or hay or something right next to it, and there's a lot more foliage. This place seems pretty dry.
Yeah, and the Life in the Ruins trailer also has a different NPC from Beedle that I believe he's on the horse, or he's walking towards the outpost, and then later he's on a horse. So that, to me, reconfirms basically that there are going to be random NPCs walking around the world, or at least on specific paths to and between these outposts or villages. And to me, it doesn't look like it's the same outpost. You can see the hills and mountains in the background look different, and as you mentioned earlier, some of the other things seem to be a bit off as well. And I'm sure there's going to be several of these different outposts around the world, so it would make sense for Nintendo to show off one other than the one they had in the first trailer. I want to thank you all for watching this video. If you liked it, give this video a like and share it with your friends. If you haven't already, please subscribe so you don't miss out on future gaming news, theories, rumors, and discussions. Also, let me know your thoughts in the comments below on how it could be improved. Your feedback is the most important part of bringing the quality of content on this channel to be the best that it can be. I would like to take this time to give a huge thank you to this month's Patreon supporters: Jonathan, The Edge Network, Magic Tech Review, John Frank, and Harris Priest. This video was made possible by supporters on Patreon. If you would also like to support this channel, head over to patreon.com/GameOverJesse, where you can support this channel as well. Rewards vary from having your topic featured on a future discussion, seeing videos early, joining as a guest on a video, shoutouts, appearance, and having a custom avatar similar to my own drawn of you to match any video game or anime art style that you would like. Mine is of myself as Link, but you could choose to have yours any way that you would like. Finally, I would like to thank my friends CS Guitar 89 and Gnomo Designs for providing the music and artwork for this video.